'Tis the season. Basketball is finally here. Ross Hodge era begins tonight against Mount St. Mary's. We're going to talk about it today on Between the Eers. How are we doing, everyone? Schuyler Callihan here with another episode of Between the Eers. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button here on our page at West Virginia on SI. We greatly appreciate all of the support. We have episodes dropping every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday through the football season. We'll alter that schedule once the season comes to a close. Every Thursday, we have the Walk Thru GameDay Show, and after every Mountaineer football game and basketball game, as a matter of fact, we'll have the Mountaineer Postgame Show. So plugging that already a little bit tonight. We will have the postgame show for West Virginia Mount St. Mary's. We'll have one after every single game. We've done it for, I think this is year 3, maybe 4 actually now, that we've done basketball postgame. So it's quick, 10-minute or so video, and we'll just kind of drop our thoughts. Every now and again, we'll have Chris Hall on the show with us, who's going to be live from the Coliseum floor for home games at times. So be sure to stop by back tonight after things wrap up between the Mountaineers and the Mountaineers. So, new season starting, new era starting for the fourth time in 4 years. The Mountaineers have a new head coach, and I think I don't want to get ahead of things here, but I think we can finally get to a point where we expect something to be built here in Morgantown. Obviously the first – with Bob Huggins stepping down, I mean, that's what really started this also. I mean, he had been building something, but, with Josh Schuyler, it always felt like a one-and-done situation. With Darren, nobody thought that, and everyone expected that to be the guy, of course, and things changed. So here we are, Ross Hodge. This is not going to be a continuation of a revolving door here at the head coaching position, but I think this is going to be a really, really, really good hire for Wren Baker when it's all said and done. And I'll be the first to admit, when the coaching search was going on and the longer it drew out and the more that I kept hearing Ross Hodge's name pop up and the more that I heard some other names that were in contention pop up, I got a little concerned because I wasn't all that blown away by where the search was going and where it could end up. And even when it was announced Ross is the guy, I was like, I wasn't really sure. I knew he had been a head coach for a couple of years. They hadn't been to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, it's much harder to get to the NCAA tournament when you're a mid-major, but still, just wasn't blown away by it. And after things kind of slowed down when the portal, kind of got slowed down and they were able to put their team together, I was able to do some research and some digging in the offseason and really kind of understand who Ross Hodge is and what he's going to try to build here at WVU. And the more and more I kind of combed through this and peeled back all the layers, I thought, oh my gosh, like this could be a very sneaky good hire by Wren Baker, because I think if Ross Hodge sticks at North Texas another 2-3 years, he's probably going to be one of those guys that's going to be highly coveted. And it just so happens that Wren already had that relationship started, so they knew each other, and it just happened that West Virginia was open once again for the second time. Really for the third time in 3 years, but you get the point. And I think they benefited from having it open again, because if he sticks in Denton for another 2 or 3 years, he's going to be highly coveted, and odds are probably not. I mean, landing in West Virginia. Obviously the connection to Wren still helps, but it would have been a lot more pricey. Let's just put it that way. And I really loved what he is about defensively. He clearly hangs his hat on the defensive end of the floor. I actually went back and watched probably, I want to say 3 games The condensed versions, of course. I'm not sitting through two plus hours of North Texas games, but I watched the condensed versions of one of their games. I can't remember who it was in the regular season now. Uh, it was a game they won. I can't remember now, but and then the two of the games that they played in the NIT, or actually it was one of the games in the NIT and then one of the games in their conference championship tournament. And I just kept getting blown away by how he coaches, how he rotates things, how he sees things, and just the feel for the game that he has. And I get all of the attention is always on the defensive end with him, but man, that guy can run some offense. And when you look at North Texas, they're really efficient. Like a lot of what they did was just so efficiently ran. They shot the ball well. They took good shots. They rarely took bad shots. The ball moved. And when you look at their pace, obviously they were one of the slower teams in the country, maybe the slowest, actually, as a matter of fact. But it doesn't matter because one, they score the ball. And they wait to get the good. They pass up the good shot for the great shot, and sometimes they pass up the great shot for the even better shot. And Ross is just a really good designer of plays, especially out of the timeout. I was impressed with some of the things that he drew up. And I think when you have guys like Honor Huff and Trace and Eaglestaff, it's going to get interesting. He's never really had this type of offensive firepower, at least in his 2 years at North Texas as the head coach. So I'm really intrigued by what this offense is going to look like. I know what the defense in large part is going to look like. They still have to get better play out of those two guys I just mentioned defensively because they historically haven't been uh, great defenders, but Ross Hodge is going to get it out of them for sure. You know what you're going to get on that end. It's the offense that I'm kind of like, what's this really going to look like? I know you have Honor Huff, who's the best 3-point shooter in America. You have Trace and Eaglestaff, who's the only player to post multiple 40-point games. A year ago, he put 40 up on Alabama. He put 50 plus up in a conference tournament game. I mean, the guy can just get it. He can get buckets. And when you have those two, plus an athletic freak in Brennan Lorient, who I think Mountaineer fans are really going to catch on and really love in these first couple of games because you're just going to see it jump off the floor. And by it, I mean him. He is just super athletic. You have those three, and then you add in the big fella. Harlan Obioha is 7 foot, 260 some pounds, just a large human being who can carve out space and draw attention. And Ross has brought this up a couple of times where he's almost kind of interested in seeing how teams are going to defend this group because you can't you can't pull all of your resources to just one guy. You can't just stick, two guys on Honor Huff and say, you're not shooting the three. You can't do that because you have Trace and Eaglestaff over here can do the same thing. And if you go guard Trace and Eaglestaff, then you're leaving the best 3-point shooter in the country wide open. And you're also leaving potentially Harlan Obioha in a one-on-one situation in the post. If you double up Harlan Obioha in the post, now you have two shooters. So it's a really nice situation just between those three. And again, you still have Brennan Lorient. So, and we just mentioned four of the starters there, and I don't want to forget or be disrespectful here to Jasper Floyd. Jasper Floyd can get some buckets too. So this starting five is it's very intriguing. I mean, I don't know how else to put it because there's just so many different ways they can attack a team. There's so many ways they can score the ball, and I think that probably the game plan or the blueprint for this team to be successful offensively is to just hammer the paint with touches. And I don't know if that's always going to be Obioha, but it could be also Brennan Lorient as well. But just getting it down there to the 7 foot, 260-pound guy seems like a pretty good formula. Not just because he's big and can overpower people in the block and score, but he's a really good facilitator as well. We saw it in the exhibition. We've heard about it all offseason. You can go back and watch his tape at UNC Wilmington. Really good passer. Ross has talked about it as well that sometimes he's a little too unselfish and passes the ball probably when he shouldn't, just because he's trying to get his teammates involved and move the rock and get the offense going. But I mean, just getting it into the paint gives you automatically three options: hook it in, or dish out to one of your two 3-point specialists. And there's going to have to be full attention to three areas of the floor at all times. And that is why I really, really believe that the ceiling for this team, which is what we're talking about today, I completely forgot to mention this, but I'm sure you can see here on the graphic here in the lower third. The ceiling for this team, I would say you're looking at over 20 wins. I don't know. I'm not going to peg the exact number, because if I say 22 and they get 23, you're going to say, "Oh, you're wrong." No, but it's over 20 wins, top half of the Big 12, so top 8, and Sweet 16. I think it's certainly possible. This is a team that can really be dangerous in those settings, because if they're shooting a good ball, they can run people out of the gym, or they can just find a way to get enough shots to go in and beat you. And that's one of the toughest things to do in the NCAA tournament, is when you're facing a team that's really feeling good about it and really shooting the ball well. Sometimes that's all you need, is just a bad matchup against one of those teams, and all of a sudden you're out watching the rest of the tournament from home on the couch. So I think the ceiling for this team, 20 plus wins, top half of the Big 12, you can get to the Sweet 16, you win a couple of games in the tournament. Could they go to the Elite Eight? Yes, but I'm trying to keep this realistic. Okay, so now speaking of the other end of it, what's the floor for this group? I still think you're probably in the 16, 17-ish range, given that you're healthy. That sounds really low, but you're flipping the whole roster, and I totally understand. It's much easier to do in basketball than it is in football. You have a lot more time together before the season to really mesh and gel and know the strengths and weaknesses of each other. You're also dealing with 5 people as opposed to 11 on the playing field or court at the same time. It's a lot easier to gain chemistry in basketball than it is in football. But I don't think what happened last year with Darren should always be the expectation when a coach comes in and takes over. Now, I'm not just talking about here, I'm talking about everywhere. It is much easier to go out and build through the portal in basketball than football and have instant success, but you still have to understand there's going to be some bumps in the roads. There's going to be some peaks and valleys throughout this season. There's going to be some nights where you're going, "Oh my gosh, like this team may win the Big 12," or "They are a clear Big 12 contender." And then 2 nights later, when they're on the road and playing one of the bottom 3 teams in the Big 12, and you think they should win by 20, and all of a sudden you look up and there's 2 minutes left and you're down 8, and you're like, "What the hell?" That's going to happen. That's just the nature of this league, number one, and also this team being completely new and trying to figure things out together. So there's going to be some bumps. It's not going to be perfect. So I'm trying to take that into account, which is kind of why I end up landing on the 18-13 type of record when you look at the ceiling and the floor that I have. So the biggest concern that I have is probably the physicality. Now, I'm removing the Harlan Obioha piece from this, because obviously that dude's going to play the game physical. But where does the physicality kind of come from with this group outside of Harlan? Is that Brennan Lorient? You would expect it to. You would need it to. But does he come through with that? Trayson Eaglestaff doesn't look the part, but can he play more physical than he looks? Can Jasper Floyd at point guard even handle some of the physicality he's going to see from the guards in this league that are maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger than him? Same thing with Honor Huff, who's not the greatest defender, probably going to shoot it more from beyond the 3-point line than he is going to take it to the cup. How can he finish through contact? How can he absorb contact? And then you look at guys on the bench. Amir Jenkins, he's a kid that's reclassified who should be a senior in high school right now. That's your backup point guard. So how does he handle that? Mo Ugasuk, I think he's going to be much better. I think he's one of the sneakier pieces on this team, much better than people think. But is he going to play the game physically? You're going to be without Chance Moore and Jackson Fields to start the season. I reported this uh, probably middle of last month, maybe earlier, that Jackson Fields was going to miss the start of the regular season. And Ross essentially confirmed that yesterday in his press conference that he is participated in practice but is not into 5-on-5 work just yet. So we'll kind of keep tabs on that and see when he can return. Chance Moore has to sit out the first 5 games of the season because of the transfer situation and getting a year of extra eligibility. So where does that physicality come from? Is it DJ Thomas, the freshman? Is it Abe Oyedir, who's probably not in the rotation? Is it Jaden Forsyth? Like, see what I mean? So when you get to the Big 12, you need to have some answers as to who's going to play physical, who's not, who's going to step up to the challenge, who's maybe a little shy or timid of it right now, because this is a very, very, very physical league. They're going to bang, they're going to throw bodies around, and you have to have enough guys to go fight amongst the trees to get rebounds. And you have to have guys that can finish near the cup. You have to have guys that can protect the rim outside of Harlan Obioha. So I think the physicality is the biggest concern that I have with this group. You can make up for it certainly by shooting the 3 ball well, but you're not going to shoot it well from 3 every single night. So if the physicality is as big of a problem as it might be a concern right now, then that's where you're going to see this team kind of struggle in Big 12 play. So that could be their downfall. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section on the YouTube page here at West Virginia on SI. What's the ceiling for this team and the floor? Give me your ballpark win total for both. Your win total for your ceiling and floor. And I'll chit-chat back and forth with you up until tip-off tonight. Again, West Virginia, Mount St. Mary's, tipping off at 7 p.m. ESPN+. We'll have the Mountaineer Postgame Show right after and talk about it tonight. Thank you guys for watching another episode of BT. We'll see you later tonight on the Postgame Show.